It is 6 a.m. sharp here in India, and my pen pal Alden asked me what a typical day looks like here. So that is the goal of this video. At 5 a.m. Annalisa woke me up. At right around 5:30, the sun brought us coffee out here, and then the father already left us a gigantic amount of bananas, and now we are waiting for the dawn to break to actually start riding and bring you along.
I like me for me. I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me. I am who I wanna be. I like me for
Cheers.
me. I'ma be what I'ma be. I like me for me. I am who I wanna be. Don't need no apologies, just peace and serenity. No to the jealousy, Wonder Woman identity. I like me for me. I like me for me.
I didn't make you wake up at 6 a.m.
Scratches here. You don't have a cap for this?
What's our route look like today?
This first 1 kilometer, you can see this is the farm road. This is a dirt road with gravel. So after that, the road is fine, clean. Next 59 kilometers is pretty good.
This year, I'm not focused on the cracks in the walls, not keeping track of all the times I fall. This year, so long to last year, it's all becoming so clear. There's no use living in regret. Let's fight a good fight, train our eyes to find the light and make this year the best one yet. Starting right here. Happy New Year.
So about every hour I have a tea, chai, or coffee. They are all pretty much the same, which is 90% milk and then 10% flavoring. If you have type 1 diabetes, no, you can ask these without sugar, else you're getting good 15 carbs. And pretty much everyone should ask this without sugar. But a wonderful yin and yang of bike touring is that no one really can do this full time. Even Annalisa and I that are striving to do this full time, there's gonna be whole months where we're in one place editing or planning, and that's what's nice, is like that's the opportunity to host other people who are traveling. And so Mohan and his family had been hosting us for 4 or 5 days, and the warmth is just so hard to describe. Just as kind of like almost a funny example is the giant branch of bananas on the back of my bike. He insisted that I brought bananas, and when I grabbed a smaller branch, he said take a bigger branch. And when I filled up my bike frame bag with bananas, he looked at my handlebar bag and said there's room for more bananas there. And it's that generosity that even if you have a little, there's enough to give to someone else. And it's something I really hope to take away after India, and even maybe while I'm here in India. But until then, we're now on like kind of the main highway, so we'll be bombing towards my store, and I'll stop and answer some questions that people asked when I posted it on Revo's page, and so that'll keep us kind of entertained.
Break a leg, I hope you're not let down. Bathtub freezing in a wedding gown. Prayerful limbs to the Lord above. Does he stay when he says he does? Does he stay when he says he does? Have you ever wondered how to love?
of you who are wondering, each of these is 10 rupees, which is about 15 cents. And then my friend Erik asked me about how we deal with the climate, like how do we deal with the heat and the humidity, and the main thing is choosing a place that is comfortable and nice. So right now in New Jersey and New York City, it's winter and a terrible place to bike, but it's also winter here in India, which means the climate is really nice. Overall, it's like 60, 65 until the middle of the day, which is why we usually wake up early, but an actual concern here is jaguars and elephants, which is why we wait until dawn. And then in the actual pure afternoon, we stay inside or drink tea or just take it easy. And that's why it's pretty exciting today at 2 o'clock. We have something special. What up, homie? What's your name? Sidrad. Erik, if you all want to see what this scene looks like right now, you all want to say hello? Look at this. None of you? Hello! So pretty much each time I film, there's always a crowd. And usually they're very friendly, but in this state, they're not as outward as most other states. That's all.
You'll be there with me.
Coach it.
Joyful songs make us feel alright. You'll be dancing and shining. You'll be dancing and shining. Can you ever learn to feel? Stay with me, you're worth it. Stay with me, you're worth it. Stay with me.
Look who it is. Annalisa, how's the food here?
Food is great. I love the Adalisa. I just can't, for some reason, every time I put food into my mouth, my stomach feels really queasy. So I have to take it easy.
How often does that happen in India?
Pretty often. I feel like that's been most of the trip, is just dealing with stomach issues. I feel like it was getting better at Mohan's family's house. Like I was cured basically, but the moment I stepped out of there, my stomach just went back down to 0.
So in a typical day, Annalisa and I actually have to capture our story while we're riding, since we're self-supported in everything we do, from logistics to housing to riding to actually capturing the content. And a huge benefit is, one, we have that motivation together, but we also ride at different speeds.
So I am a slower bike rider and Erik is faster, and kind of the advantage of that is that he has the time to like climb up on a cliff while I'm still biking and capture me riding. And then it allows us to also just get different angles of different scenes. For Miles' portraits, when I'm taking a photo of someone, he'll get a shot of me photographing them, just so that we're constantly getting all these different angles.
And a perfect example of us working together and actually communicating what our shot idea is crossing this bridge outside of Munnar. I wanted to get this shot of Annalisa as a small bike going across the bridge, so I used the zoom lens we have on this trip, the 70 to 300. And then when she crossed the bridge, she knew to get her lens out and get me riding across, where I swapped and put on my wide-angle lens to also get a first-person shot. So when it's edited together, it'll look like this seamless bike ride, but just us two were able to get 3 shots going over one kind of scene.
So we're basically a 20-person team. Oh, the camera's not
Yeah, no. And People have been curious where Annalisa and I have been staying, and what's special about the Miles of Portraits India series is that hotels and hostels are very affordable. Roughly averaging out to $15 a night or $10 a night per person, I think, here at the mansion, which was recommended to us by Sharon, our Airbnb host out in Kotagiri, so thank you for that. This has been a place, old mansion that was actually restored, and they offer yoga, they offer good food at their cafe. But what's been really nice for Annalisa and I is actually meeting other travelers and foreigners, because on our bike trip so far, we've only met one other bike tourist, which was here, Ben. So good luck on your journey. But then also just hearing people's stories, bonding with them, taking time to unwind. And so we made a decision to stay here for 4 nights, and then we'll head west towards Bergh and then eventually Calicut. But we have something really special happening this afternoon, so we're showered up and we'll have to go bike north in the city to actually meet some locals who've been living here.
I mean, this was like deep end from day one. So yeah, it was intense, and it's like she said, it's a pretty amazing experience to go through that with someone else. Would have been a lot harder if it was just like one of us doing it separately, because then the other person, I don't think you can really like explain like the emotions that you go through with such an intense like experience.
I think the one thing that's interesting about like an industry like finance especially, and I think it's quite typical of a lot of like very intense industries, is people always talk about quitting. Like a lot of our days are spent dreaming about quitting. Everyone's like, you know, this place, I can't wait to get out, but then no one ever does it. For me, it definitely got to a point where I almost felt like I didn't have a choice, like I just had to leave because it was just something that consumed me.
It's like super interesting to kind of like immerse yourself in the process of doing anything for that matter, and I guess we found that in coffee.
I don't know how to see the world in grey. You know I'm all out of ways to convince me to feel like it's okay.
Alright, so we just spent the last 3 hours talking about coffee, which is pretty much a dream come true. But if you are here in my store, these guys are on Airbnb Experiences, so I'll leave that link. And as we always end each video,
You can go anywhere
And do anything.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I see almost like this gap filling where I'm like, okay, a lot of us are kind of like, okay, our jobs, but then there's this like big transition into like, okay, how do we actually run a company?
Exactly. It's like, fuck the job, now what?